It's Monday, January 22nd, and it is time for Ask a Traffic Cop, that show on the internet that allows you to, ask us questions about traffic stuff and things. Well, we talk about traffic law, traffic safety, police stuff in general, and we're here to serve and educate. I just made that up. Okay, it was not really, it's, just anyway. Happy birthday to my baby brother. Is that appropriate to say? My little brother's birthday today. Happy birthday, Ryan. Hope you're having a magical day. And what is going on with us? Well, it's Monday. I had a great weekend. I watched a great movie. What else? I don't know. There's so many good things that have. It was just a good weekend. Yeah. What did I do? I don't even remember. It was just a whirlwind. I actually slept in. I think I got 8 hours sleep. A night. That never happens. Anyway, welcome to another Ask a Traffic Cop. You can watch us on a whole bunch of different places. We're currently broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and Twitter, now known as X. If you're asking questions, you can actually ask on any of the platforms, sort of. Twitter has been working, but nobody talks to us on Twitter. I think majority of the folks watching are watching in replay because we get hundreds of views. We just don't have a lot of live interaction because for the first couple of years, we said we can't actually hear you. Now we can. So we have to undo the messaging we did where we told you don't ask us questions there. Anyway, if you're watching there, we'd love to hear from you. Say hello. Make sure it works. If you're coming through on Instagram, we have to look at you on a different screen, which is suboptimal, I know. You know what else I should do? I should probably set my ringtone, my telephone, not to ring while we're live. That happens a lot. For some reason, everybody, including my dad, wants to call me whenever I am live streaming. It's weird. I don't get it. Do not disturb for 2 hours. Let's do that. I dig it. Okay. Now I can put this screen here, and we'll try and keep an eye out for messages coming in from the right-hand side. Where'd everybody go? Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. I lost another window. Where are my windows hiding? Did it take everything? What's going on here? Technical difficulties. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. Let's start off with Vision Zero Enforcement Team because we'll talk about all sorts of things. But for anyone who wants to see a wide-angle view on Instagram, because you're only looking at a little letterbox in the middle, a vertical box in the middle of just me, if Sergeant Campbell should show up, just know that you will be not seeing either one of us because we'll shift over like this and we'll disappear. You'll be looking at Buddy on the back bench there. But if you want to watch widescreen, go over to youtube.TrafficCop.ca, or if you want to pick from any of the other platforms we're on, go to TrafficCop.ca, where you have links to all of our social media. Also, this podcast or this live stream will be available as a podcast after we finish recording it, because I download it, then upload it to Spotify, where it can be made available for everybody. And that way, if you want to listen while you're driving, but you don't want to break the law or burn your data, you can go and subscribe to Ask a Traffic Cop. And you'll get it all synchronized. Of course, you won't be able to ask questions, but, not everything is perfect. Vision Zero Enforcement Team is what we're going to get out of the way now. You might already know what it is, because if you regularly watch this show, you would know what it is. It is a dedicated group of officers who go out there to change driver behavior every single day. They are the folks who change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They issue tickets for the stuff that people do, and the stuff that they're looking for are very specific. Yeah, they're looking for the stuff that's known to lead to serious injury and death on our roads. So it's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving, the big four. We talk about them all the time. They don't change. They continue to be a problem. And we want to continue to change driver behavior. So if you don't want a ticket, don't break the law. A lot of people get upset when we talk about rules. Apparently, they are upset that the rules infringe on their freedoms. Well, driving is a privilege. It's not something you can just do willy-nilly. You need to be authorized to operate a motor vehicle. It has to be insured. There's conditions. The vehicle has to be safe. And the way that you operate it is regulated. There's a bunch of stuff you got to know. You know. Okay, I think this is the command. Let's see. No, it didn't work. I got to try and figure out how to do The command for the regulated repeating statement about questions. If you got questions, please put a Q in front of it. That way I know you're asking me a question. But happy to report that the TikTok connection is working today, so we'll be good to go. Nice. Oh, I should probably tell you where Vision Zero is going to be today. Vision Zero, that magical group of officers changing driver behavior, is focused on enforcing the laws, well, wherever they are, but they're focusing their attention on 31 Division and 41 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Black Creek, Humbermead, Downsview, Humbersumbit, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, Cliffside, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. Okay. Yes. I now think I can move on to good mornings. Good morning to Sean, guest of any, good sergeant if there, moderator, other chat users. Michael, you rock. He's covered it with, all aspects. And I need to look down because I want to launch the program. What do I want to do? Oh, it's the restream chat. That's what I want to do. Where is it? There we go. See if it works today. I'm going to continue to challenge technology to do everything I want. Maybe it'll work. Does it work when I do this? No. Maybe I don't remember what the code is. All right. Let's see what's going on. I'll come back to this. I had it all set up that every 5 minutes it reminds people to put a Q in front of their question, but whatever. Oh, question 1. In HTA, what does RSO mean? Question 2, what's the oldest year of subsection 1990 HTA? So there's constant changes, and things are proposed. They are, read. They have to get royal assent for them to be law, and then new things are taken. It is a messy, messy document. In terms of what does every acronym mean, I don't even know. I should know what RSO is, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Rodney Dangerfield joke, we'll flag that for later. Tim Shallow says, good morning, Sean. Hope your weekend was great. It was. Here comes 2. Homer Simpson's when a movie was about to start. What? Really? Stephen Bell, good morning, Sean. Akela Draconis, surprise meeting canceled. You've been having good luck there. Tien is wishing my brother a happy birthday. Thank you. Basharat Ali says, Sir Sean, on Friday's show, I invite you to the occasion of inauguration of the new driving license center. This invitation was from the core of the heart. You agree to participate to the approval of your chief, request your department and home chief to kindly allow you to travel to be part of the ceremony. I assure you the best hospitality and memorable tour. Please inbox me. Okay, he sent me his details. Yes, so you also sent your information to everybody on Facebook, sadly. So you should probably send me privately that information, but I do appreciate it, and we'll talk about that later. But Michael is, again, wishing my brother a happy birthday. Let's see here. Okay, can you drift on your own property if you live in the country? Example, a field. Country field. No. Farmers' fields, parking lots, above ground, below ground. They have literally mentioned every potential location. They both noted what you can and cannot do. So if we really want to, why not? Let's go into the weeds. Stunt driving. Stunt and race regulations. Ontario HDA. I rarely want to go through each and every one of them, but it's really complete. They've really gone and listed everything. Let's see here. I just got to find the paragraph. I mean, we can go into everything. The definition of stunt. For the purpose of Section 172 of the Act, stunt includes any activity where one or more persons engage in any of the following driving behaviors. Driving a motor vehicle in a manner that indicates an intention to lift some or all of its tires from the surface of the highway, including driving a motorcycle with only one wheel in contact with the ground, but not including the use of lift axles on commercial motor vehicles. Probably a good thing to specify. Driving a motor vehicle in a manner that indicates an intention to cause some or all of its tires to lose traction with the surface of the highway while turning. Driving a motor vehicle in a manner that indicates an intention to spin it or cause it to circle without maintaining control over it. Odd use of words. If you're spinning in a circle, you may think it's under control. It isn't. Not the way you think. Driving 2 or more motor vehicles side by side in proximity to each other where one of the motor vehicles occupies the lane of traffic in another, so many words, driving two or more motor vehicles side by side in proximity to each other, where one of the motor vehicles occupies a lane of traffic or other portion of the highway intended for use by oncoming traffic for a period of time that is longer than is reasonably required to pass another motor vehicle. So you basically drive into oncoming traffic side by side. Yeah, I get how that could be not good. Driving a motor vehicle with a person in the trunk of the motor vehicle. Driving a motor vehicle while the driver is not sitting in the driver's seat. Odd. How does one do that? Driving a motor vehicle at a rate of speed that is 40 kilometers per hour more over the speed limit if the speed limit is less than 80 kilometers per hour. Driving a motor vehicle at a rate of speed that is 50 kilometers per hour more over the speed limit if the speed limit is 80 kilometers per hour or more. Driving a motor vehicle at a rate of speed that is 150 kilometers per hour or more. Period. Driving a motor vehicle without due care and attention, without reasonable consideration for the persons using the highway, or in a manner that may endanger any person by driving a motor vehicle in a manner that indicates an intention to prevent another vehicle from passing, stopping or slowing down a motor vehicle in a manner that indicates the driver's sole intention in stopping or slowing down is to interfere with the movement of another motor vehicle by cutting off its passage on the highway, or to cause another vehicle to stop or slow down in circumstances where the other vehicle would not ordinarily do so. Driving a motor vehicle in a manner that indicates an intention to drive without justification as close as possible to another vehicle, pedestrian, or fixed object on or near the highway, or making a left turn where a driver is stopped at an intersection controlled by a traffic control signal system in response to a circular red indication. At least one vehicle facing the opposite direction is similarly stopped in response to a circular red indication, and the driver executes the left turn immediately before or after the system shows only a circular green indication in both directions, and in a manner that indicates an intention to complete or attempt to complete the left turn before the vehicle facing the opposite direction is able to proceed straight through the intersection in response to the circular green indication facing that vehicle. So I'm covering a whole bunch of stuff before even getting to the description that I'm actually looking for. Yeah. Let's see here. This is what we're actually looking for. Despite Section 2, race and contest do not include a rally, navigational rally, or similar event that is conducted under the supervision of the Canadian Association of Rally Sport, under the supervision of a club or association approved in writing by the Ministry, which is Ministry of Transportation, or with the written approval of the road authority or road authorities having just jurisdiction over the highway or highways used. So you have to have permission from the government. Motor vehicle owners are engaged in a tour, scenic drive, treasure hunt, or other similar motoring event in which the participation drive responsibly in a manner that indicates overall intention to comply with provisions of the Act, or an event held on a closed course with written approval from the road authority, blah, 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 kart, Formula One, IndyCar. Okay, we know that. We have. I can't keep reading all of this. I've got to scan to where I'm actually looking for. Section does not apply to a racetrack, motor speedway, or go-kart track that is built specifically for that purpose in a specified place, or an event similar to those described in Section 4 that is held in a specified place with written approval of the road authorities. Okay. So, driver includes a person with care, charge, or control of a motor vehicle. Parking lot includes any parking lot, garage, or structure, whether public or private, paved or unpaved, flat or multi-level, above or below grade, including any driveway or road that connects the parking lot to a highway. Any private, commercial, or industrial parking lot, or empty lot from which the public would ordinarily be excluded. People always make the excuse saying, well, if it's public access, I can't do it, but if it's private, I can. Well, that's not true. Any parking lot which drivers are expressly or impliedly invited or permitted to enter with or without pavement, and no matter whether the pavement is made or whether the driver entered with or without permission. Specified place. Wait. Did they remove something? I do not see farmer's field. I do not see beach. Maybe there's been some updates. Because it used to say everything. I've got some more reading to do, an investigation. Anyway, that was way down the rabbit hole I went. Apologies to anyone who was bored to tears. I know I was. But I got to do some digging because it looks like they've changed some stuff. Very interesting. Things change all the time. Do they send us a memo? No. Okay. So where you set a field, I got to go back and look again and dig and see if there's a revised version, which version they sent me to when I googly googled it, because we're going to look into that so you get more information, Johnny. Yeah, it used to say Farmers Field and Beach, but I don't see that currently, so got to do my homework. More new updated homework. We have the greetings and salutations. I left some stuff for the show last night in case I missed it. I don't see any. Okay, I don't recall what you're talking about, so I'll have to look at it. What country is this? It's this country. I am in Toronto, in the province of Ontario, in the country of Canada. So city is Toronto, Canada. And that's what we talk about primarily, laws that are here. And someone already answered. Can a G1 driver on the link... can a G1 driver drive on the link in Hamilton? It's a 90-kilometer-an-hour roadway. So unless that highway is specifically exempt from that particular condition, then it would be no. So you'd need to look and find out if it is. I am not familiar with Hamilton or the link, so unfortunately I would not be able to give you an answer. If you look at the driver's handbook, there's a list of the roads specifically excluded from that rule, which we might be able to look at. In fact, if you go to TrafficCop.ca, I have a link to the handbook. Maybe we just find it for you right now. How about we do that? Get a motorcycle driver's license check. Where is this? Handbook. Okay, we're opening it up right now. I'll even put it on screen for you so you can experience the search with me. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. How do we go? Let's find here. Table of contents. Getting ready to drive, sharing the road. I don't know what section it's going to be on. Be physically and mentally. Maybe we should do a whole show where we just read this book to you. Oh, wow. We're not in the right place. We're looking for how to fasten your seatbelt. We got to move further down than that. But there's some great information here. If you want to just re-up and fix, what do you call it? Update your remind. That's what I'm looking. Remind yourself as to what the rules are. This would be the book to have a skim through. I mean, it's the stuff you had to do to get a G1. Sometimes, where in the heck is this going to be? Let's go back to the table of contents because I don't want to scroll through an entire book. Y'all can do this yourself. But I want to. Where's my mouse? Okay, table of contents. It's probably under types of licenses. Is there nothing here that is jumping out at us? Getting your driver's license, maybe it's under that. What kind of license? I could swear there was a section for it. Conditions of license, maybe? G1. Okay. 400, you must not drive, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. But there's got to be a conditional, a set of them. Those are the ones you cannot. I could swear there was an exemption list. Anyway, I don't see it. Big fail on my part. I thought it was there. We'll have to figure out a list of the ones that are exempt. But there are roads that are exempt because it's the only way to get in and out of a community. Yeah. If you're watching and you don't mind doing me a favor, I'd appreciate that you like, subscribe, share this live stream and our content. You know, if you're on TikTok in particular, if you tap that screen till your finger goes numb, you are sharing likes or telling the algorithm that we're doing good. And what we're trying to do is help people get information that is helpful to them. So if you would be so kind as to hit the likes, we like the likes, and we appreciate you for it. Okay, we can't do anything else for you. We're not throwing a party, but we do appreciate when you do that. Let's see. Oh, Evandro says good morning. He's our Brazilian fan. He's watching again. Sean Estabrook says gangs on the rise. Gang stuff is always doing gang stuff. I don't know. I'm not in the gang unit. I'm in the traffic unit, so I couldn't speak to what the stats are. But, I mean, I watch the news. Bad stuff's happening. Why isn't there a ticket given for people who park in electric charging spots? It's private parking. That would be up to the private parking people to ticket. They could call the parking authority to have people charged, but that's not something that the police get involved with. Private property is private property. I shouldn't say that. Private property can be enforced by people who are MLEOs, municipal licensed enforcement officers. So we actually certify security guards to write tickets, but they can write tickets for those, but it's not police officers doing that. Is it okay to phone in a red light? Ali wants to know. No, you're not allowed to touch your phone. You're not allowed to use your phone unless you're legally parked, and red light is not it. It doesn't mean in park. It means illegally parked, a place that you could leave your vehicle and go off and go shopping or something. That's the thing. So if you're touching your phone while you're driving, you can get a ticket. The only thing you're allowed to do is like to swipe to answer or hang up. That's it. What's the deal with all these electric bikes? Did I select the right question when I tried to? Like things moved as soon as I went to click it. Scrolling back. What's the deal with these electric bikes? They don't have plates and are on sidewalks and roads. E-bikes, if they qualify as electric bicycles under the Act, are not required to have license, ownership, and insurance. They're considered a bicycle. You have to be 16 years old to operate one, and you have to follow all the rules of the road. So they can't be on the sidewalk because you can't be on the sidewalk unless you're under 14. Well, someone under 14 can't use an electric bicycle, so that's not happening. They are eligible for tickets when they break the law, just like any vehicle on the road. Okay. Hey, it worked. For whatever reason, this started going. So here's my automated message to say, please start your questions with Q so we know it's a question. That way, I'll be able to pay attention. It's not just dialogue amongst yourselves. So, and one more thing on the e-bike question comment deal. There are not enough officers in the city to ticket everybody for doing what they're doing when they're breaking the law. We get as many as we can, and we try again tomorrow. We have to see it. So sadly, we're a busy police service. There's a lot going on. We prioritize our enforcement to the stuff that leads to serious injury and death. Now, that's not to say it's not being handled or looked at. Crew units in the downtown core are absolutely working on an education and enforcement campaign, working on curbing or changing that behavior. Bobby Cyberspace says, what's the worst area for crime in the GTA? I don't know. John Kern says, good morning, I guess A. I don't say 8. Who says A? Is everything okay for TPS to participate in the auto show? We were actually looking at booth layouts. We're talking about there's drawings that we're playing with. We're looking at booth layouts. So things are moving along there, but not finished. Still planning. Joyce Connor says, my roommate says that vaping or smoking a cigarette is illegal while driving. Is that true? Yeah, depends. It's illegal if you have someone in a motor vehicle under the age of 16. So if you have children in the car with you, vaping or smoking would be illegal, and you could be charged. Vaping or smoking in a work vehicle is illegal under the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. If you're not fogging the entire interior of your vehicle with smoke or vape, then it's not interfering with your ability to see. Generally speaking, it's not illegal. It just has those conditions. I got a dad joke. We'll flag that. Oh, Akela says, it seems you can maybe stunt on water or ice. We were originally saying no, but hey. Stephen Bell says, all weekend I watched Heavy Rescue 401. I've only seen that show once. That's the one with Carrie Schmidt in it, right? Corey Wilkins says, good morning, Officer Sean. I have a better dad joke for you today. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. We've got Michael who says, I drove dump truck. I think you mean dump truck. Good thing they accepted lifting tag axles. It's needed to be raised and turning. The old unit I had did not have steerable tag axle. I can only imagine. That's the extra set of wheels for carrying heavy loads. John Kearns wants to know, or says, if everyone has seen F. Trudeau signs on cars, is there some law that makes obscene messages like this illegal? I guess hate messages would be illegal. Just saying F. Trudeau, it could be a first name. It could be Fred Trudeau. So yeah, you have some use imagination in if it just says F. If it says, would it be profanity? I don't think profanity on its own, unless it was sexual or hate, could be an issue. I've never actually dealt with it on the road. Big flags that interfere with your ability to drive safely could be an issue. If they're not secured properly, could be an issue. Yeah, it gets into a weird space. Finally got a sample of Sean reading while HDA ASMR. How about 62 lamps next? I can't imagine, like when you read audiobooks, like I was looking into doing audio narration or book narration, and I don't think this would be fun at all because even if you've got a good run on a couple of paragraphs, you end up tripping over your tongue at some point. You have to re-record things regularly, as you could see when I was reading it live. Mind you, I'm trying to go really, really quickly. Uh-oh, things are scrolling. Hey, if you're asking questions, that means you're in the right place. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. And we'd love for you to follow, like, and subscribe. And of course, if you're watching on TikTok, please hit the screen as often and gently. Don't break your screen, but tap it as much as you can. Show that you like it so we can share it with more people. We want to let more people know what we're doing. The whole goal of why we're on the platform, or on all the platforms that we're currently broadcasting on, is to help people. And I can tell that our messages are getting out, not always from happy people. Like we tell people not to tint their windows or their windshields, and they go, they say F something else. But they're really unhappy with people saying things aren't necessarily safe and that there's rules prohibiting their use. I don't know why. Let's see here. Corey Wilkins wants to know if it's okay to put a car in park while waiting at a stoplight. It's not prohibited. I don't think it's a great idea in case you heard some screeching tires or you wanted to make an evasive maneuver, but you forget that you put it in park. So now you hit the gas and you don't go anywhere and you end up getting into a collision. Sometimes being at the ready is the right thing to do. And it is the right thing to do, to stay in drive while driving. Because when you're stopped, you're still driving. Okay. Is everything still working? No, we lost TikTok. TikTok broke. Why? Hold on a second. I'm going to try and reset the feed. They told me this might work, and it might work, but it also might not. So we'll lose the feed for a second. We'll come back. Okay. Let's see if this worked. They seem to think that it would. And we'll find out momentarily. Because things are coming across on TikTok, but they're not coming over. We'll give it a few minutes. All right. Let us continue. What do we continue with? Okay, I'm going to just look over to TikTok. I'm not going to wait for it to start working. TikTok, what's up? I'm going to scroll back and see if I can find some questions to pull out of TikTok, not anyone in particular. Okay, let's find a question. Do I have to renew my car plates? Is that what the other question was? Oh, come on. Restream, come on, you got to fix this. It's annoying. I'm going to cut and paste it onto a separate screen. And I wonder if I need to delete. No, I can't delete the profile. Okay. Just going to open up some Microsoft Word here and cut and paste some questions in. New and paste. There we go. This is me walking you through my workaround when chat doesn't work and really, really annoys. Where'd it go? Okay. Everything disappeared. You're still here, though. I know that. Okay, there's that. There's Word. Here we go. Okay. Let's get to your questions. People get upset. They're like, you're not talking to me. Why aren't you answering my questions? Well, I am. It's just going to take a second. Okay. Okay. Brutal Tooth Truth apparel. Is there anything against warning other drivers of a speed trap on the Highway Traffic Act? If you're warning them with flashing lights in their eyes, then technically it's improper use. It's not a legal issue. It's a moral issue. Why would you want to warn somebody that there's radar up ahead? What they do is they slow down temporarily, they change their behavior to avoid getting caught, and then they accelerate, and then they go and hurt somebody. Now, not every time, but you're contributing to making the roads less safe. My suggestion would be let them get caught. Then maybe they'll lose their license. Then maybe they'll stop driving. Or they'll learn a lesson. Either way, yeah. And by the way, anyone who wants to ask questions and wants to avoid the chances of missing their questions being asked, jump over to youtube.TrafficCop.ca because that is working. It also works for other platforms, but YouTube is solid. It's working. Mikey wants to know what the consequences of driving without a G2 are. Driving without a G2? Like physically on you, or you don't have a license? Which one is it? You want to know what exactly? So if you don't have it with you, you get a ticket for $110, not being able to surrender it upon demand. And then when you take it to court, they either convict you or don't convict you, up to them, or you pay it. There's no other consequence to it. And now people say, well, it's not a big deal, right? Maybe you're talking about you have a G1, but you haven't gotten your G2. That has serious consequences because that's if you drive alone with a G1, you're driving unaccompanied, you're going to get a suspension. First time, 30 days, second time, 90 days, third time, kicked out of the licensing program. Start again, back to zero. That's not good. Okay. I got pulled over by a OPP. He just checked my license, gave it back to me, and told me to go. That's from Huss. That happens. That's a thing. Was this shocking? Were you doing something wrong? But at the end of the day, we can stop anyone to check their license status, to check their insurance status, to check their sobriety. That is a thing. Ali wants to know if it's legal for police to run plates without any reason. And actually, there's absolutely a reason. I need to know if your plates are valid. Is your license expired, at least your license plate? Because it's free to renew, but you have to actually renew it. And if you don't, you get a ticket. So that's a thing. I would suggest not driving without the appropriate things done, without renewing, because then it's a $110 ticket. But we can totally run people's plates. That is a reason. Oh, Jason Gill, these are my favorite comments. Hang on, let me cut and paste this so we can show Jason Gill that he's famous and we love it. I'll wait till we put it on screen so I can give it the appropriate razzle dazzle. Jason Gill says, love to see our tax money goes to police officers to be on TikTok. Pow, pow, kaboom. I don't know what sound effects goes with this. Yes, your taxpayer money is going to putting driver safety and education on the internet, answering questions that people have of the police. I could totally sit on the phone and just wait for someone to call and have a half an hour, 20 minute, half an hour conversation with somebody. Maybe it's a lot of questions. Maybe it's going to take an hour. And I'll talk to one person at a time. Here I talk to thousands. And it is going into the record on YouTube so people can go and check the archive. We've got hundreds of hours of this. So is it good value? Yeah. And I'm thanking you wholeheartedly for bringing it up. Okay. Has there been an uptick in Tesla fires in Toronto? So, Corey, good question. And if you go to talk to or watch the episode of TPS Traffic Jam, that's our actual podcast where we have guests. TPS Traffic Jam, something you can go and subscribe to on your favorite podcasting app. The answer is no. There's been a one or two. Like there was one that mounted a curb and caught on fire. I don't know how many in total, but the major increase is thermal runaway when it comes to electric accessibility stuff, like what is it called? E-bikes, e-kick scooters, EVs, but the portable stuff that people are ordering from overseas that doesn't have the certifications. That's the stuff that's the biggest problem. Okay. If you forgot the expiry date of your plate, is there a link or a website you can use to check the date? You can go to sign up for, go to TrafficCop.ca. There's a link at the bottom for signing up for reminders. It's going to be your birthday, and it's going to be either 1 or 2 years since the last time you renewed it. I suggest using a calendar to keep yourself in the know, but you can certainly check to or sign up for renewal reminders for your license, your ownership, and your health card. It's an Ontario thing. It's free. I would do it. With all the crazy drivers and traffic violations we see on a daily basis, what's done about that? Well, if it results in collisions, we investigate and hold people accountable. If it's observed by police, we pull people over and charge them. It all depends, but we're actively working to change driver behavior. What we're doing right here is part of that. Education is a huge thing. A huge thing. Bubbles, the red fireball, says, I got pulled over because my car was too loud. That makes sense because it's illegal to have a car that's too loud. Unnecessary slow driving is an offense. You can also, not unnecessary, unnecessary noise is an offense. See, it starts with unnecessary, then my pre-programmed responses kick in. The deal is that the tickets are issued for that. Also, if you have an improper muffler, another ticket could be issued for that. If you have no muffler, a ticket can be issued for that. If it's behavioral, it's probably just going to be the noise and whatever the behavior was. Like if you were doing burnouts, well, unnecessary noise and stunt driving, potentially. Yeah. But going back to that whole renewal thing, TrafficCop.ca. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Lost in thought today. Okay, what do we got here? Ryan Pin made a comment. A pro tip. Commenting on how your taxes pay police salaries will warrant you no favor, especially while they're asking if you know why they pulled you over. It's funny how much attitude changes one's choose your own adventure. Or at least it guides. It is. Does anyone know what a choose your own adventure is? Is anyone old enough, like me, to have experienced choose your own adventure when it first came out, or at least, I don't know if it first came out, but at least in my childhood, we used to have books where, do you want to go left or right? Page 8 if you want to go right, page 27 if you want to go left. It is a choose your own adventure when you're pulled over. Your actions very often create a response. If you're polite and you take responsibility for your actions, usually you get a lenient response. If maybe you get a reduction in speed, maybe you get a warning instead of a ticket. When you are a jerk and you start telling people that you know more than them and that they weren't doing what they were doing, despite the fact this is not a time to argue. But if you choose to argue, chances are you're not getting any leniency. You may not get extra, but you're not getting any leniency. That's a pro tip too. Okay. John Cairns wants to know, is speed camera vandalism just vandalism or a charge? Vandalism charge or something more? I don't think there's a specific charge. I do believe that it is just a criminal charge of mischief. Maybe there should be a specific one. Or they should have their own defense systems, like they electrocute the person who's trying to damage it. That would be interesting. Electroshock therapy. Okay, maybe no one would go for that. Maybe it's a liability thing. Jim Bean says, waste of taxpayers' money. It's okay, Jim. You can just keep on scrolling. Ian McLaren wants to know if radar detectors are legal. They are not legal in the province of Ontario. You can't buy, sell, transport, possess, use, nothing. If we see it or if we believe you have it, if we have a suspicion, we can pull you over and search it yourself in the vehicle, like the vehicle and its occupants looking for it. And then, of course, we seize it and give you a ticket for $180. $180? 180 and 3 points. I keep messing up and thinking it's 170. I don't know why. And I look it up on a regular basis, and I still somehow am hardwired to think 170. Because it is 170. That's why. Hang on. Yeah, I have this argument with myself on a daily, and it's really annoying. Speed measurement. 170. It is 170. That's why I keep thinking it's 170. Because it is. So where's the 180 coming from? Some crossed wires there. I am Boymon says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you, too. Jim Bean says, your job is to write tickets, not sit on TikTok. Well, that just goes to show you how little you know, Jim. because my job is not to write tickets. My job is, as a media relations officer, to educate and engage the public on social media. But thank you for telling me what my job is when you clearly don't know what's up. Just saying. Gotham City says, friend got a parking ticket, BT license plate number, bylaw wrote, what? BT license plate number? Okay. Got a friend, got a parking ticket by license plate number, maybe. Plate number, bylaw, road had mistake, best course of action. If it was simply an error, but your friend was actually the one there and did it, you could always talk to the prosecutor, but they could probably amend it. We have our parking enforcement officers take photos. So if they have photographic evidence, they would just amend the ticket. But talk to someone, find out more. That's a good question for Aaron Urquhart. Since you're on TikTok, if you go to Aaron it's TPS _ bike heart, BIKE heart, HART. And yeah, ask Aaron. She is the parking enforcement officer with the best information on parking you could ever ask for. Ken says, are police aware of drivers cutting in after the dotted line to merge into the 401 from 404? Almost never a police there to catch these drivers. OPP, they only have as many officers as they have to be where they will, need to be. So I'm sure they are aware. They have cameras all over the place, but whether or not they can be there, and they can only deal with one car at a time. So I would say contact the OPP and tell them about your concerns. They might be able to, do something there as a not a sting, but a project where they spend more time there. Ryan Pinn loved those Choose Your Own Adventure books. I recently found one in cleaning up my my old room at my parents' house, and I took it home for my kids so they can learn all about it. But they're still available. They're just ridiculously expensive, if I remember correctly. I was going to try and buy a whole set of them, and I'm like, these are too pricey. I'll just tell stories and make them up. Tian says, choose your own adventure. You died, but your finger is still on the previous page. Yes, because if it was the end of the story you wanted to back up, absolutely. When you undo, this was a bad idea. I should have gone the other way. I don't know what Steve is saying here. Replying to traffic services, no, but that doesn't stop them. I don't know what we're talking about. Brandon says, it genuinely doesn't bother me that tax money goes towards this. It's educating and fun to listen to. Why, thank you. And we've done all sorts of talks and surveys, and it's overwhelming positivity when it comes to the stuff we do here. It's not just this live stream. It's all sorts of content that we create, and, of course, reaching out. One of the cool things I found that it truly is cool, is that a lot of our content is used for education in driving schools. They're using our content all the time because we're teaching the law. And it's the law that you got to know, at least if you want to avoid getting tickets. Okay. Need to sip. Shreyans Jane. Did I say that right? Shreyans. Yeah, Shreyans. Maybe. Possibly could be. Okay. Question, driving from province with no front plates, Nova Scotia, into a province with front plates required, Ontario. Do I get a ticket if I'm visiting for a family reunion? I would never give you that ticket anyway, because it makes sense that you don't have one because you'd never been issued one. Turns out there's actually an exemption that says if you're coming in from a province that doesn't issue them, you're exempt. So you would not get a ticket. And if you did get a ticket, you'd have this great piece of evidence of me telling you that you wouldn't get a ticket. But truth is, it's in the Highway Traffic Act, and anyone in the courts should know that. Okay. Corey's got to go back to work. He says, have a great day, everybody. Are electric tints allowed on cars? They let you turn on and off tints on the go. These are either coatings that are they're LCD, liquid crystal displays, essentially. And are they legal on cars? I don't think there's anything specifically illegal or illegal about them. The fact is, when they're on, when the window is driving on the road, you must be allowing at least 70% of light to come through. And the interior of the motor vehicle must be visible. In other words, I have to be able to see into the driver's area. The windows left and right of the driver, and of course the windshield, must, although nothing can be on the windshield, but the windows left and right of the driver must allow me to see in. I got to be able to see if he's wearing a seatbelt, they're wearing a seatbelt, they're drinking a coffee, a beer, smoking. What are they doing? I need to be able to observe their actions and describe them. Now, people say, well, you can't identify somebody. What if they're wearing a mask? Okay, they're wearing a mask. I need to be able to say the driver's wearing a mask. That's the level of identification or description I need to be able to get. Now, if it's at nighttime and that same level of tint that was okay during the day is no longer sufficient to allow me to view inside the vehicle, well, that's not lawful. But in terms of the on and off, let's say you want to park your car with opaque windows. Cool. Just can't drive on the road with them. So I don't think there's anything that would prevent you from having that installed as long as you are not using it on the road. Another dad joke in. John says, California now, cops can't ask you anymore why I pulled you over. It's self-incriminating them. Well, funny thing in Ontario, if I have a conversation with you, I can't actually tell the court what you said anyway. So I can't get up and testify. The driver told me they were guilty because they wouldn't accept that information. They would stop me. I don't ask that question because it doesn't help me with anything. I pull you over and say, I pulled you over because you were speeding. I don't want you to have a guessing game. And this is taught all the way back to the police college when I got on. It was, we don't ask this question. We just tell people why. And there's a number of reasons why we don't do that. But there's no reason to have a guessing game. It doesn't help anything. And your confession saying, yeah, I was speeding doesn't change anything. Because just because you said you were speeding doesn't make my case against you. Michael Hicks says, law says you have 6 days to register a car after you buy. Does that mean you can drive it with insurance and no registration? Good question, Michael. It means that if you have plates that you have registered in your name, but are not transferred to that vehicle, so they're unattached in status, you sold your old car, you have the plates lying around, or they're extra plates from a second car, you can, as long as the plates are valid, as long as you have insurance on the new vehicle, drive for 6 days on those plates. The intention is so you can get it home. But you can't drive without plates, no. You could get a trip permit, but at that point, you're ready going to the ministry. Trip permits are usually for taking it to another province. You bought it here, but you're taking it somewhere else. Michael says, electronic tint sounds like something that costs money and breaks. Have normal windows. I would say that's a good piece of advice. The deal is with anything electric, I believe that the natural state is clear. If the natural state was opaque, that would be a problem, because if you did have them break, and our wonderful climate would suggest that everything will break, it would be something that could be very dangerous if you were driving and suddenly your windows are opaque. So I would suggest it's a bad idea, but I don't know if there's a law specifically on the books to prevent you from using it if it's clear while you're driving. Boom, boom, boom. My friend had a guy's dad, OPP cop, do a background check on her family with no reason. Is that legal? Oh, so they did a background check on their own family, or they did a background check on somebody else's family, because that would not be legal. But could a police officer, it sounds not cool. I mean, if it's part of an investigation, it's one thing. If it's just running people's names for fun, no. We're pretty particular about when we run information. Yo, genius, you just read on the highway, my field in my backyard and the farm ain't the highway. Oh, sexy red baby daddy. Interesting username. The deal is that the Ontario Highway Traffic Act was amended to include private property, which is why I was reading all those things. Boom, boom, boom. And they allege I was wrong. Well, I wasn't wrong when it was written. I got to reread and make sure that there's nothing being amended. This is going back quite some time, like a while ago. But wow, they're really unhappy. Can we eat or drink during driving? You can if it doesn't negatively interfere with the ability for you to drive your car safely. Can dash cams be used as evidence in traffic violations? They can if they collect, evidence, yes. Could they on their own be used to lay charges? Depends what's captured. Potentially. Where is this person? Hey, you surprised me. We're just talking about, I was asked, Sergeant Campbell just walked in and scared the crap out of me as I'm looking down, because we had the loop fail. So I've cut and paste things into the side here. But someone was asking about farm stunt driving. And I said, you know what, let's read the act. So I read the regulation, and everything's in there, but it no longer says the beach or farmer's field.
So it has been
potentially
amended?
Possibly, but I said I'm going to confirm, but at first reading, no longer reads the way it was originally issued.
So I do believe there was an Ontario regulation that put those specifics in there.
Yeah, so this is the regulation.
Has it been removed? Well,
And then last amended. So this is the definitions here. But anyway, all the stuff about where is here, and it's changed.
It makes sense.
That they changed it?
It makes sense that they would put it all in there and go, well, listen, we've had a problem with this. We'll have to change this. We'll have to change that. And that's what our government does.
They didn't send me a memo.
Well, they never do. They never do. Let me have a quick look. Let me see what I can find.
Yeah, I said I'm going to look. I'm going to do homework. But this particular user, Sexy Red Baby Daddy, was very offended, but gloating in the fact that I was wrong when I said it was Farmers Field. I read it, and I can't find the change.
You know what? Sometimes you're wrong. I even admitted to being wrong about something about snowmobiling, which normally doesn't happen.
Yeah. And I love when people ask questions that are about that, because I can just point a finger and say it's all for the Sarge. BJ says, hello, if I'm not in front of the emergency vehicle and there's a red light in front of me, am I allowed to go through the red light to make way for them? No.
No.
They know that you can't. So if you can't make a left turn or a right turn to get out of the way legally, then you wait. And when the light changes, then you get out of the way.
You would cause more of a problem edging into the intersection to let an emergency vehicle go than you would, because you're not allowed to travel through it. You're not allowed to enter it. You're not allowed at any time to go in there. And you know what? We know that. When we're coming up to an intersection, we know that we can't push you out of the way. If you can make a safe right turn on a red and you feel that you want to assist us, that's possible, but it has to be safe. But that's the only time you can actually go into an intersection on a red. We will do our best to try and go into the oncoming traffic, use the lane of least resistance, or, depending on the situation, I'll pull up behind you and I'll turn off my lights and siren. And I'll wait until it is safe, and then I'll turn them back on again, and then I will get around you and through. There's not very many situations that I haven't thought well enough in advance that I wouldn't be going into the oncoming traffic.
We're looking way down the road, If I'm coming up to a red light, I'm going on oncoming traffic. There's no question about it.
Now, I've seen some fire trucks, I'm not calling them out, but I've seen some fire trucks just pull into traffic and get very upset, honking their horn, get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. And you feel obligated to break the law to allow them to get to where they're going to assist people. And they're legitimately going somewhere to possibly save a life. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those situations. What do you do? Do you assist them by doing that? And create a higher danger? Sometimes there's nowhere you can go.
But you would be in a big trouble if you end up in a collision, just because insurance companies would not be happy. Okay.
So Ontario regulation is 45507.
Yes.
Is that the one that you looked up?
That's the one I looked up.
And currently on what I have, it means any parking lot, beach, park, bike path, trail, farm field, or sports field.
It says it right here, and I just did not see it. It was invisible in my eyes. Specified place. So it does say parking lot, beach, park. So for the person who was gloating, I just missed entirely. It went invisible, this line.
Well, there you go.
It still says any parking lot, beach, park, bike path, trail, farm field, or sports field. So it's still prohibited there. So any parking lot. It's funny how I missed that. I don't know.
Well, there you go. But because it's an Ontario regulation, regulations change. So the act may stay, but they could change that in the future. And it kind of makes sense. A farm field?
Why would you be doing it?
Well, first of all, why would you do it? It's still just as dangerous. Mm-hmm. But out of all the places,
You think it's the least dangerous?
I think it's the least dangerous.
Well, sports field, I mean, here's the big thing. I mean, where is the specified place? Because this is putting here, parking lot includes. Okay, so parking lot includes all these places. I love, this is one of the reasons we're here, is to have these discussions, is to find the stuff, to talk about it, to explain it, because the average person reading this would have done exactly what I just did, which is miss it, even though I've read this 100 times.
And then get in trouble by doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
Yes. Well, I'm glad I said I'm going to report back and double check, because it didn't make sense to me that it was gone. I was not aware of anything being repealed, and it hasn't been. My eyes stopped working when I got
All good. That's what I'm here for.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you. All right. What do we got here? We have, how can I fix a date error on my driving record? Contact the Ministry of Transportation, go to Service Ontario. I don't know if some things can or can't be fixed, but what is the situation? What is the problem?
There is a 1-800 number available for the Driver and Licensing Improvement Office. They would be the one to contact. Look it up on online.
But if it's a serious problem, I mean, I don't know what kind of date issue you're talking about. Okay. Someone's going to drink and drive later because they are clearly choosing to or they want to get arrested. That's not good. Dash cams. Yes, dash cams are something I talk about all the time. I had dinner at a friend's house on the weekend, and we got into a conversation. They had just been in a collision. Their car was written off. It was a multi-car collision, and they wanted some advice as to what to buy. I'm like, anything. Just get something that records. And I can't get over. There's a new model than the one I have. It is $650. The new one. I'm like, wow.
Yep.
And I don't know what it does that mine doesn't do, but now I want it, even though I don't want to spend it.
I have one that points at the front, out the back, and in the car. And I will never drive anywhere without one.
I agree 100%.
Personal experience, I was pulling into the police station parking lot, vehicle in front of me. He didn't want to come into the police station parking lot and decided to stop and start backing up. Well, I had come to a complete stop. There was cars behind me. I couldn't back up. And despite me on the horn, he continued to back into the front of my car.
I remember this story.
When I contacted my insurance company, they said, well, you'll have to pay your deductible. And then if we find out that you actually were stopped, because usually in a rear end collision, it is the person behind that is causing the colliding, not somebody reversing. And I said, well, no problem. I'll pay my deductible. But does it make any difference that I have a video here that actually has a GPS on it that shows my speed at 0 and that I was completely stopped as he was backing up? And the insurance person says, well, if you have that and shows that you were absolutely not at fault, you do not have to pay your deductible.
Well, that's good.
And it would have just been a fight for me to try and get it back. So it worked for me. And my deductible is $500, and so that just saved me.
Well, it would have been you at fault had it not been for that, right?
Well, it could be.
But you had independent evidence that suggested, told them exactly what happened. So huge difference. Rashad on TikTok says, is he reading questions from TikTok? Normally, it's much faster because things are all looping in. And if it breaks, we have a helper who's not here, moderator, and he's not here today. So it broke, and I'm doing it manually. I cut and paste a whole bunch of questions, so we're a little behind in the transfer. But I did see your comment, and your question is, I see some vehicles with a third license plate from another country attached to their car. Is it legal? So this is where we have the Ontario plates, and then someone puts a plate from Europe, per se, on their vehicle. Is it legal?
So if it is there to confuse the identity of the vehicle or the licensing of the vehicle, then yes, it is. And if you're using it in place of your Ontario plates, yes, it is. If you're displaying something that is not, it is a lawful plate and you're displaying it to try and confuse, like I said, we would be stopping you. Now, there's an awful lot of them that are just symbols or copies of plates or things like that that are not the real ones. Because the front and the back one, the Ontario ones, are clearly visible, and that'll be the ones that we focus on. Common sense.
Yeah, I've never had a major issue with them. A lot of them are collector cars, cars that are imported from Japan, right-hand drive cars, and they want to keep or historic cars. They want to keep those European plates on, but they still display the correct plates, and it's not confusing. I've never had an issue with it, but I can see where others would have an issue with it.
Now, you're talking classic cars. we do allow year of manufacture plates to go in there. So up until 1973, you got new plates every single year.
Weird.
And if you wanted to keep your plates, for say you had a 1969 vehicle, you wanted to keep your year of manufactured plates that you were able to legally acquire, you could keep them on there. And it says the month.
It's right in there.
Yeah.
Ghost wants to know, what about cops running red lights? I guess you want to know if it's legal or not. Well, we can legally go through red lights, but there are conditions. So we have to come to a complete stop. We have to have our emergency equipment on. That's lights and sirens, and then we can go through when it's safe to do so. We're obviously written into law that we can do that, and it's for any lawful purpose. But people get freaked out because we're going, silently without lights and sirens till we come to the stop or till we approach the light. Then we go through and then we turn them off again. They go, just don't want to wait. Well, it may appear that way, but that's not what's actually happening.
Sometimes getting somewhere is quicker without lights and sirens. Sometimes it's safer without lights and sirens. If we're going to a holdup, an armed robbery or something like that, we don't want to announce that we're coming because that can lead into something like hostage situations or stuff like that.
Warning bad people that we're there to respond to their call.
I was going to say, plus bad guys run away if they know we're coming. So sometimes it is safer not to. Sometimes just driving somewhere is safer not to have them going. I've had people do some pretty stupid things right in front of me.
I see it all the time.
When I get freaked out.
There was an ambulance or fire truck going and on Lakeshore on my way to work at 5 a.m, and I stopped and pulled over, and I watched one car just continue driving. And eventually, when they clued in from the haze they were under, they stopped in the middle of lane 1.
Yeah.
And the fire or whatever vehicle was had to pass on the right. It was ridiculous.
My suggestion to you is signal your intention, what you want to do, so the emergency vehicle in front or behind knows what direction you're going to go as we're passing. Signal to the right, pull to the right, come to a complete stop, and we'll go by.
Hacked by Monkey wants to know if you can get a ticket for flooring it at a light.
Are you racing?
Well,
are you squealing your tires?
There's so many ifs. Just a marked departure? Are you flooring it and then weaving through traffic? Like, your behavior could be, seen as racing, could be seen as stunt driving, maybe possibly, could be careless.
All depends on the totality of the circumstances and everything around you. Just wasting gas by accelerating rapidly from a stoplight in itself? No.
To the speed limit.
To the speed limit.
John says he had the same thing happen to him with a semi-truck backing into him, claimed they rear-ended him, bought a camera after that.
Yep, absolutely.
Best investment. Okay, let's see here. We have, what's the TPS position on speed cameras? Well, my position or the TPS? I can't speak corporately on this because, we have them in the city. They're part of the program. We accept that they're there. We appreciate that they help slow people down. It's not something that we oversee as a police service, but I think generally speaking, we are for them.
Yep. The municipality runs the speed cameras, not us. They help us do our job better because it slows people down. Now, albeit just for a limited time, and then people tend to speed up again. Albeit we have big signs up that says speed cameras in effect and cameras are ahead. They're in community safety zones. And we still continue to catch thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
With all the warnings.
All those clues are out there, and people still are negligent enough to keep doing it. So
someone said yesterday in comments, because we had hundreds and hundreds of comments, really, really busy time on TikTok over the weekend. And many people said, or one person in particular said, it's just for cash because we know that after you get out of the school zone, there's no camera up ahead. So obviously it's just to ding people and then it's not down the street. And my response is this: I'd love to see them on every road everywhere. There should be, like, anywhere you speed, you should get caught. There should be no zone where you have to follow the law and then a perception that you don't have to follow what the block after. I would have no issue with that. At least then it would be across the board. We'd know that if you speed, you're going to get dinged.
All the speed cameras that are set up right now in the province are done in community safety zones. Those are zones that have been designated at higher risk because there's a school, a park, a daycare, a play area, a sports field, stuff like that around. Those are the ones you need to slow down for. You need to slow down for all of them. But those are the higher risk ones, and that's where they put them.
Well, that's how they can justify putting them there, because people don't like them. So, yeah. Someone said, y'all, I'm going to jump out of order for a second because Welder Dave says, y'all depend on speeders, people speeding. And we'd rather not. We'd rather not have people speeding. There are other things we could focus on. We have to deal with speeding because people are choosing to put lives at risk by conducting themselves that way.
I agree.
Yeah, if people all stopped speeding, we would have lots of other things to focus on. There's a ton of violations happening everywhere, but the majority of them happen to be speeding.
And that's one of the ones that causes the most death and injury.
Yes.
So why not focus on it?
And something I'd love to be able to spend more time on is tinted windows. So Wade and S says, how dark can your front and back tints be in Toronto? Well, first of all, it's not a Toronto thing. It is a provincial thing. The law is for the entire province of Ontario. And every province and every state in the United States has different rules governing tint and regulating vehicle modifications and things of that nature. So you cannot have any tint on your windshield, save and except for vehicles manufactured 2016 and older and before. You can have a 3-inch tint strip from the top of the window 3 inches down or to the PS1 line, whatever happens first. And why the PS1 line, don't ask me, but essentially that's for older vehicles. They changed the law. Anything January 1st, 2017 or newer cannot have any tint on the front windshield. And then the windows left and right of the driver, for certification purposes, cannot have more than 30% light blockage. So 70% of light has to get through. And the big thing to understand there is just because you can certify it doesn't mean it's going to be legal all the time. Atmospheric conditions, we talk about it all the time. If I can describe and see what's going on in the driver compartment in a sunny day, but it gets dark outside and I can no longer see, there is a fine for obscuring the interior of a motor vehicle with color or reflective coatings or film or coatings. I think it covers both. In any case, if it's dark, but you have 30% and you got certified, you can still get a ticket. So really don't tint things dark.
Now, you said the PS1 line.
Yes.
Is it not the AS1 line?
Maybe it's AS1 line.
I believe it is. And the AS1 line you will see on windshield. It is a part of the windshield, usually about 3 inches down from the top, where it has to have visual.
It talks about the clarity of
clarity of the glass.
Yes. Certain types of glass are okay for certain locations. And I think it is absolutely right. PS1 is a game platform.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that.
Yeah, it's okay.
So if you probably have never noticed it unless you look on your windshield and see about 3 inches down on the left and right hand side, you'll see a little mark that has the AS1 line, and there's actually a line.
Mm-hmm. And again, it only applies for vehicles manufactured 2016 or older. Anything newer can't have anything. And the back windows, rear windows, as dark as you want. Only thing is you have to have clear view to the rear. So if you are driving a motor vehicle and your rear window is opaque or blocked and you have two rearview mirrors, you're okay. You can see it out the side. And you're one in the middle that's obscured by tint, no big deal. But if you can't, then you're subject to tickets. And York Regional Police and Toronto Police will issue you tickets, absolutely.
Yeah, we're good that way.
Yeah. This is a good question. Alessandra Moon says, if the light turns yellow and someone is literally close to you, can you go through? So an amber signal as you're approaching an intersection means stop, unless it's unsafe. If you can articulate that it's unsafe and you have no way of stopping without causing a collision or putting yourself in harm's way, there is the potential that you would have a valid use of that. Here's the big thing. If you're approaching a yellow and it turns yellow early enough and you're doing the speed limit, you should be able to stop. So not only should you be past the point of no return, just because someone's behind you may not be enough if you were far enough back to safely stop.
Right. I would say if you have to, the threshold for me would be if you have to jam on your brakes hard enough that it's going to cause your tires to squeal, then you probably have an excuse to be able to get through.
Yeah, hopefully it's
anything other than that, or if you're speeding up, or if you're not touching your brakes at all, or if none of that happens, you're getting a ticket. Now, it used to be the exact same fine as a red light ticket. Now, the red light ticket has gone up, but the amber light ticket hasn't.
Yes.
But the points are the same.
Yeah, generally speaking, we want you to be doing the appropriate speed so you can stop safely and not put yourself at risk. But yeah, somebody being on your butt at an intersection and you're at the point of no return, all those things worked for your favor. John says, I love the video you put out with the red front window tint. Funny story with that one is it's actually an old video that I renewed. I re-recorded the bits because the audio wasn't so great the first time. But yeah, a local installer put front red tint on our windshield. And then they actually did a follow-up video. Maybe I'll repost that one. They did a follow-up video where they removed the tint. They said it was just for show, just for making samples on the internet.
Yes, the local installer became the local uninstaller.
Yes, that's right.
And good for him for doing it.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that that we should be able to go after installers for doing things that are, setting up cars for making them less safe, putting them on the road, and knowing that it's illegal. But many installers will do it if you sign a waiver.
Right, because it could be held civilly liable. If you put tint on the front windshield and the driver goes out and runs over somebody,
they say, well, he put it on my car. He said it was okay.
I'd be suing him.
Sure. Not a good thing. Okay. Good morning. This is Jason Davey. Good morning. Now that the pedestrians have an advanced walk sign at lights, can police enforce pedestrians crossing when the countdown starts? It will help traffic flow and prevent collisions. So we can write tickets for people who are doing things, not listening to signals and so on. The problem is, I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what we focus on and where we put our resources. We have only a certain number of officers. We have to focus on the most dangerous offenses. Trying to change driver behavior is where we focus our time.
But I totally agree with what you say. It would definitely help traffic flow, and it definitely would prevent collisions.
For sure.
Involving those pedestrians that are doing something that they know they shouldn't be doing. Because there's a sign.
There are a whole bunch of laws dealing with pedestrians. Like, for instance, if a car is committed to a turn, already turning, pedestrian can't step out into its path, causing it to stop. That would be failing to yield to a vehicle. And that alone would change downtown traffic if we could focus on enforcing that.
Yep.
Because
absolutely.
you have a car that's been waiting and someone's crossed the road, and just as they're about to step off, someone else steps on, and then they continue. It just never ends. There should be more to focus on that. Or maybe we need gates.
You know what? It's a shared responsibility, and it's a responsibility of the pedestrians, the cyclists, and the people that are driving vehicles to do it properly. And if we all play well together, then we'll move around quicker and safer.
Yes. If you're driving an ATV or a side-by-side on the road where it's allowed to do so, are you required to have your headlights on?
Well, hello, Brian Gudgeon. You absolutely are. In fact, I may know Brian Gudgeon and may have answered his question this weekend when we were out together.
That's funny.
I'm glad that you said it, though, because we see it an awful lot, especially north of the city, where ATVers who are traveling at a different speed from the regular flow of traffic are on the roads and are not doing it properly and cannot be seen because their headlights aren't on. So,
Ardeep says 90% of Toronto traffic is because of pedestrians that keep crossing at reds. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't look at it enough anymore. JHI4W3 says, why do police always ask where you're going and where you're coming from at a traffic stop? Oh, I have my theories.
I have theories too.
Ultimately, we're having a conversation. This is part of the conversation where we're evaluating you.
Assessing you.
Yes.
Checking your sobriety. Checking that your ability to be cognizant and operate a vehicle properly is happening.
I can ask you where you went to school, or what are you going to do on the weekend, or what's your vacation home look like, or
that's kind of personal. But if you're just talking about, hey, you're in a vehicle and you're operating it and you're coming from somewhere and you're going somewhere, it's a pretty open, natural conversation that won't offend very many people, but get you talking.
Yeah, asking about your shoe size is just weird.
Well, yes.
But that's what I'm getting at is you could be, hey, how you doing? It's just a matter of having a conversation. It makes you think. And oddly enough, when people lie, which often people do to police.
I've heard that they do that.
Yeah, it's a thing, apparently. So just having a conversation. And from that, we make we might develop some suspicions. Yeah. What age can a child sit or take a front seat? You might remove it and go jogging with it. At what age can a child sit in the front seat? We suggest waiting until they are 14 years old. That is the suggestion 13 is what it says in the vehicle. Usually on that little sticker on the sun visor, it usually says something about 13 years old. Medical professionals and people with bigger brains than ours have actually said 14 years old. I don't know how much a year difference makes, but I don't argue with those people. In terms of being in when they can legally do it, there's no law that says they can't be in the front seat. Sometimes there are only front seats available because it could be a two-seater car.
And this is something that people are very confused about where it comes to airbags and child restraint systems. There are regulations on when they can or cannot be in a child restraint system. You have to be aware of front airbags when you have people in the front seat, because that's where they come from. They come out from the front as opposed to the side. But there is nothing stopping you, other than common sense, from putting your child in the front seat.
And you can still install boosters and car seats in the front seat if need be. Just make sure you do it as per the regulations, as per the manufacturer's installation instructions and so on. Put the seat as far back as you can. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it.
Safest spot if you are worried, center of the rear seat.
Yeah, away from all the crumple zones.
Right.
Yes. Alexa sends blessings to all Toronto police officers. Thank you very much. And John wants to know about, or what do you do when a person doesn't speak English? When you pull them over? I've dealt with that a lot. We have a number of options. One, we can sometimes get through with broken English. Sometimes I've used, now that this exists, translation apps where I can speak and it translates and they can read. Those are options. If that doesn't work, I've called officers to attend who do speak the language that I'm trying to communicate in poorly. I'll try anything. I've spoken a little Spanish before. I'll give it a shot. But at the end of the day, getting someone who speaks that language natively, and we have lots of officers from all over the world, originally in backgrounds and families who speak many languages. They're available to swing by. Lastly, there's a service we could actually use for translation.
Now, they still have an obligation to provide us at the roadside. Doesn't matter what language they speak. They have an obligation of certain things that they must do. Mm-hmm. And not speaking the language doesn't negate them from doing that. We will do everything we can to make that the easiest and most understandable for them.
I'm shocked at this question. Is it utmost necessary to stop at a stop sign? I'll put it on screen so you see the whole statement.
Isn't that what the sign says?
Yeah. Where'd it go? Oh, TikTok's connected again.
Well, there you go. Right in time for me to jump off and you to jump off.
Yeah, well, so here we go. What's the ideal age to apply to the police service? When you qualify. As soon as you can pass the testing, that's the best age. Used to be 30. Now we're hiring younger folks. So this is the question of, from Lukla, is it utmost necessary to stop at stop sign? I think it's very bad from an environment point of view. Sadly, it doesn't matter about the environment. It matters about safety. In situations where we have roundabouts, that sort of addresses that problem. But we'll survive if we stop. We may not survive if we don't. That's the problem. And let's see here. We have, I don't know what Braden Mortis said 18 plus, but I don't know what 18 plus is in reference to. Maybe that was a front seat, back seat comment. I once called the Canadian Embassy in Korea to translate for me. Really?
Wow.
That's intense.
That's great.
It's great that they were able to help.
Yeah.
And that I wonder what the long distance was.
We always try. We always will go above and beyond because it's better for us if we can inform you at the roadside and get what we're required to receive.
I arrested someone who claimed they only spoke French. And until the handcuffs were on, they only spoke French. But they spoke perfect English the moment I arrested them.
Yep.
It's funny how that works. They were very impaired. So Lukla says, in Europe, they have a right before left rule, which reduces frequent stops at the crossroad. I'm not familiar with this right before left rule. Now I want to look it up.
So that's probably at a four-way intersection. Who has the obligation or who has the right of way to proceed first?
Right before left. Interesting.
Well, they're obviously operating on the other side.
But they're talking about not stopping.
Are you sure?
I don't know. They said it was unnecessary. Is it really necessary? They're saying reducing frequent stops.
Oh,
so I want to know.
I didn't read the whole thing. I was just listening to you.
Yeah. Don't listen to me. Left before right. I want to look that up. Never heard of it before. Okay. Four-way stop and there's no cars. Oh, they're following up. At a four-way stop, there are no cars on any other streets. So this is sort of like the, what do they call that? The cyclists want to use? The Chicago, the Idaho, the potato stop. I don't know what it's called.
Yes. The
Ohio, somewhere.
What's that called?
I can't remember.
There is one, and there's actually, they've named it, where they kind of just slow-ish down.
Is it the Ohio stop, the Idaho stop?
It's something like that.
Something like that. It's silly, is what it is. What shows up when running a license plate? Your registered information. So whatever the vehicle ownership it is, the VIN, the color, the basic information about the vehicle, and we can then do further investigations, but it's the basic info.
And there may also be information about the vehicle. If it is involved in a crime, there may be information about the driver if they're involved in crimes. It all depends. So we do get a fair bit of information.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that we know, that the ministry knows, we get to know. And then we can do other searches from that. Does TPS advocate for any traffic reforms? What traffic reforms are we referring to? I don't know.
More speed cameras?
I'm all for more speed cameras, more red light cameras, more enforcement, tougher laws, harsher sentences. I'd be all higher fines. I'm good for all that. Not everybody agrees with me.
I want no validation stickers for your
snowmobiles. I know. Can you explain how to use a signal in a roundabout? This is from, let's see here, from Susu Sweet. And the answer is, you don't have to signal in, but you do need to signal out. You also have to yield to traffic already in the roundabout. So if you're approaching and there's someone coming, you got to slow down and you may have to stop until they are passed, and then you can continue.
Most roundabouts that I see in Ontario right now are just single lane roundabouts. Mm-hmm. Now, it gets a little more complicated over in Europe and Great Britain. They have multiple lane roundabouts. They actually have multiple lane roundabouts that lead into other multiple lane roundabouts that have a traffic light in the middle of them.
Well, that's not confusing at all.
Yes. But on these ones, the ones in Ontario are pretty simple. You're going anti-clockwise, so you're entering on the right and always going to the right. Once you enter lawfully and safely, you can pull out onto whatever roadway you want, as long as you signal, and it's safely done and there's no pedestrians crossing. And if you miss it, you just go around again and try your second attempt at it. Anybody in the intersection has a right of way. Everybody else must yield to them.
And in Ontario, I find it's being like it's like a game of chicken because nobody yields to those inside. I am fearing for my life whenever I go into a roundabout in certain communities because I go through and I have had to stop to avoid hitting someone who failed to yield to me.
Who just wanted to come in.
Because I don't think they know. I don't think they understand. They obviously don't follow this channel.
I personally love roundabouts. I think it is a fantastic, most efficient way. You don't have to stop most times, and traffic is constantly moving. And if everybody does it correctly, it's way safer than a red light, in my opinion. But we just need to learn how to operate them properly.
We need to get everybody on board. We need better driver instruction and standards. Let's see here. We have a follow-up saying that Lukla would like the left before right rule here as well. There was also a comment that the rolling stop is a California stop. I think it's got a bunch of different names.
I don't think it's California.
Well, I think it's the Idaho stop, but it keeps coming to mind. Hey, they said Shady says Idaho stop.
There you go. I think you're right.
Why don't police care about car thefts? We absolutely care about car thefts. The deal is that we do what we can do, but once the car's been stolen, it's now an insurance thing. We have people who are trying to uncover and catch the rings and put an end to the whole criminal enterprise. But could you imagine if we ran around just tracking every car that was stolen and hunting those? We'd have no time to go to actual priority calls. It
is so easy to steal a vehicle now. It was very, very easy back in the 80s, mm-hmm. and it's become very, very easy with the use of technology now. It is happening so often. People think it's a victimless crime because everybody's insured, but it makes everybody's insurance go up.
Totally.
Now, is it worth pursuing putting lives in danger for a stolen car? Like, you have to think about the bigger picture when you're pursuing a stolen car. Is it worth it? Could somebody get killed?
But there's also laws. Like if it's inside a building, we need a search warrant. Like you can't just go in and say, I know the car's in there. Like there's so much to it. We have to follow the law. Criminals don't. We do.
Yeah.
Well, they have to, but they don't.
And we care.
Yes.
And you know what? Make your vehicle the least likely or least desirable to steal.
However, I just saw in the news a guy had an Escalade or a Yukon. He had a tracker in it because he just found it in Dubai in a car dealership lot. And someone went over there and confirmed the VIN number. But it was, they even had a club on it. Like they went through and tried to make it less attractive, and they still took it.
Yep.
So you can make all the good things, do all the right things, and still lose. Gosson wants to know if they can crowd a pickup truck with a full G. You can't crowd. You can only have as many people as you have seatbelts. Nobody in the back. You can't put 4 people in a 3-person spot where there's 3 seatbelts.
You used to could.
You used to could, but you can't no more.
Not no more. All right, I'm out.
I'll be out very shortly.
Okay.
I'm going to try and wrap up some more because there's been so many that popped in since we had technical difficulties. Now it's actually working.
Have a great day. Bye to everybody. Bye, Brian.
And that was Sergeant Murray Campbell, who scared the crap out of me while I was reading something, and then we'll clean it up afterwards. Okay, what's the rule regarding big rigs driving the left lane on the 401 Express and Collector? Well, they can't be there. Their commercial vehicles aren't supposed to be there at all. I suppose if there was a height situation, they might have to be there for a purpose, but that would be something they'd have to articulate. Neptune says speed. What is this? Speed camera trap is wrong. Some situations require to pass a car due to unsafe situation. You could also slow down. And if you have that unsafe situation, you could always articulate that in court. But is speeding okay? No. No one should ever speed. The only people who can legally do it are police officers in the lawful execution of their duties. What is this? Officer did it to 6 cars in a row. I don't know what the context of that statement is. Let me go back. Is it prohibited to eat and drink and drive? Only if it's causing you to drive unsafely. Okay. You really don't like speed cameras. Red light but Neptune says red light cameras are good. So you just don't like speed cameras. Well, sadly, speeding is a huge problem. Question or comment from Cam. Cyclists who don't wear helmets are concerned that they may damage their helmets. I had so much hate from the cycling community when I told them that they should wear. I stated in an article that people should wear helmets. They didn't like that. I've had people who claim to be safety advocates saying that they don't even make their kids wear helmets, and they think it's wrong. And they used. I think I made a comment about European. I forgot where it was, but European countries, and they said, "Oh, they're the best. They don't wear helmets." I'm like, helmets protect your computer, protect the noodle. Okay. Homegrown Patriot wants me to explain to everyone how license plates are unconstitutional. Yeah, we don't deal in fantasy here. We deal in actual law, but thanks very much. Let's see here. That person is likely spouting something about Freeman. It's not a thing. Or it's a thing. They're just getting arrested all the time because it's not a thing. Making up their own rules. Let's see here. Do you think that the speed limit on the 401 can be lifted safely to 120? The law is 100, and in some areas 110. And even that, they only acknowledged or accepted 110 after a study. And the problem is people are doing 120 as the average speed now, which is wrong and should stop. If you made it 120, they would do 140. No, I don't believe that it should be raised. It's not up to me. And if the law has changed, hey, whatever the law is, the law is. I would not advocate for an increase in speed. Our drivers get into collisions now with current speeds. It's bad. Okay. Are cops pulling over diesel trucks that are deleted and ticketing them in Ontario? Yes. To what level or what priority, I don't know, but it happens all the time. Okay. Scrolling here. What do we got? Policing for profit. I love these statements. Nothing to do with profit. It costs more money to enforce laws than it does based on the recovery of funds based on tickets. No, we don't get it anyway. It goes to the province. A portion of it, I'm sure, trickles down, but it's by no means for profit. There's no reason to write a ticket if it wasn't for safety. Don't want to pay? Don't break the law. Simple as that. Okay. A whole bunch of stuff to catch up on. Gosson says what? He's wrong. I teach HTA. Hold on a second. I want to see who's saying that I'm wrong, or is he wrong? Who's wrong? And who's the person who says that they're teaching HTA? Amanda. I'm only curious now because I'd like to know what they're claiming. Who's wrong? Anyway, if someone thinks that I'm wrong, I'm happy for them to bring it up to me. We can have a discussion offline or online, but if you think I'm wrong, and maybe I'm taking that, maybe they're saying somebody else is wrong, but bring it up. Oh. They said you need to signal your entrance and exit on a roundabout. Where do you teach HTA? Because entering doesn't require a signal. So you're wrong. And the head instructor for Young Drivers of Canada, past tense because he's now with another company, teaches that. I support that, and I've read the HTA. So tell me where in the HTA it says you need to signal. I don't know why it's not going on screen. The statement: we're having a problem. Why is it not working? Now things aren't going on screen. Yay! We're having technical difficulties again. I love it. Not. Okay. Anyway, been saying this for a year. I love that they have a different opinion. Would love to hear more about where you are citing that. But whatever. It is what it is. You think you know something? By all means, back it up with the proof. What are the laws around passing a snowplow? I remember hearing something about the fines. Okay. So, again, I can't put things on the screen. Things are all slow on the internet right now. Issue. I got an error. Anyway, time for me to go. But let's confirm if audio is working. Stand by. Something didn't work. See if this is still working. Oh, it's still working. Okay, I don't know what the error was. Oh, Chase says audio gone. It's back. Okay, good. Fantastic. Oh, this is coming in really hot. Why is it so loud? Anyway, way too loud. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe knock it down to 85. Okay. Got another dad joke in the pile. What are the laws around passing a snow? Right. So if you are passing a snowplow that is working in echelon, so two or more that are working in echelon, then you cannot pass them if any lane that you are working to drive through has any level or component of snowplow. So if the blade is inside the lane, even though the snowplow itself is not there, the blade is extending, you can't pass them. And we just watched some great videos of cars getting smacked about, horrible damage because they tried. The fines, what are the fines for passing a snowplow? Let's look it up. See if they've got the new update. Improperly pass a snowplow, $405. Is that the only one? Looking for the word echelon to see if this is something else. Up to $1,000. Ticket price $405, but in court, $150 to $1,000. Yeah, that's the one. 148.1 sub 1. $405. Okay. What do you consider safe roads to teach a new G1 driver as a seasoned G-Class driver? I would suggest going to a lesser traveled road to start with. I mean, I like parking lots to start with. You can't do it as a driving instructor, but as a, mom, dad, friend, other person, you can go to a parking lot and get basic feel before hitting the road, and then quiet roads, low stress. You don't need stress. Hello from OPS. Hello, OPS. You may not know, but why are the divided highways up north only 90 kilometers? I don't know. I would assume because they're considered less safe, or they don't want the high-speed travel in their area. Slower, better. Or back louvers? How do you pronounce that? Like the old IROC rear windows, the plastic, nothing illegal about those that I'm aware of. Boom, boom, boom. Gossin is ensuring us that you got to be able to signal in and out. You're following the road in. You're not changing direction. Okay. Where can I renew my insurance papers? Are you talking about your car insurance? Call the company you're insured with. Why isn't there enough laws for e-scooters and bikes when using shared roads? Why isn't there insurance for them? I think that this is poor. I think there should be insurance for e-bikes. They're being used as motorcycles, especially when they're modified. Now, if you do modify when it goes more than 32 kilometers an hour, it is a motor vehicle. When approaching a roundabout, you're required to signal your intention of exit. No, you have to intention. Again, tell me where it says in the HTA that you have to signal into a roundabout. It's like you're following the road in. It's only the exit. Okay, but anyway, enough arguing. Chase says, "Who is this cool traffic cop on the internet?" I need to get lunch. That's what it is. How long can a person drive in other provinces with Ontario no plate? Oh, like how about we just go Ontario plate? I think that's what you're asking about. The deal is that you can go there and when you're traveling through, but you can't, if you reside there, you have to transfer your plate. It depends on how long you've been there, and it depends on the rules of that province. So are we having issues, Paul, with the volume? Is it blowing out, going really, really high? You know what? It's been an hour and 43 minutes. It's time for me to go anyway. But let's do the dad jokes, even if the audio quality is not good. And, of course, we'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock to do this all again. Okay, what do we got here? So this is a Rodney Dangerfield joke. Rodney Dangerfield joke to be read near the end with dad jokes. I tell you, I get no respect as a kid playing hide and seek. The others don't even look for me. Rodney Dangerfield. It's funny stuff. I miss seeing him in movies. He was in all sorts of movies back then. I don't think he's around anymore. Yogi Berra quote. I always thought the record would stand until it was broken. It's not a joke. It's quote. How did the hacker get away from the police? He ran somewhere. Okay, I like it. In my experience, that highway agents and chaos are bigger gang. So Michael says that people choosing to break the law on the road are worse than gangs, essentially. Oh, good thing to add. This is something that was said, spoken about earlier on. Essentially, we were talking about smoking, whether it's illegal while you're driving, and of course, vaping with anything that has illegal substances in it would be illegal. Good thing to mention. Okay. Ryan says, last night I saw a deer on the road that was recently struck. Poor thing, but flashed my high beam so that oncoming traffic would slow and avoid hitting him. This is not a dad joke. But yes, that is a good purpose, or a good reason to do it. Okay. Here's a dad joke that I hope is clean. You know why you never see elephants hiding up in trees? Because they're really good at it. That makes a lot of sense. Dad joke. A history degree is useless. There's no future in it. I'm telling you. Here's a question, though, from Stephen Bell. Why did cops get pepper sprayed and tased during the police training? Oddly enough, when we use pepper spray or tasers are used, we inevitably get cross-contamination. We get sprayed too, and we need to know how to fight through that. We know what to expect, so it's not the first time we're pepper sprayed. So we're pepper sprayed so we understand also what the person that we are going to spray is going to experience, so we're not using it unless it's absolutely necessary. I think that's one of the reasons. I don't remember if that was stated or not. Essentially, we want our people to know what it feels like, so you're not just spraying everybody you meet. And so if we're sprayed by somebody else in cross-contamination, that we know what to deal with. Braden wants to know what the biggest difference between Canadian and USA police are. Citizenship. That's my dad joke. That's my dad joke. I know that we have different training, we have different laws, but essentially we're doing the same thing. I don't think there's that much difference at all. Dad joke from John. I saw a burglar kicking in his own door. Must be working from home. It's pretty good. All right. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm calling it. It's been a blast. The technology was really annoying today. I'm sorry for those that didn't get their questions answered because many didn't. We lost a whole bunch to the stream of, I couldn't keep up with the stream. Anyway, back tomorrow. Hopefully technology will be on our side, and we'll go from there. Chase said, I missed it. Dang, I'll go back. What'd you miss? Oh, is this, you want to know if it's confirmed? We're almost finalized. We're picking furniture at this point. Yes, I have paper booth. Yes, I have drawings and stuff. Anywho, we're out of here. Play the traffic song. It's the official end of the show when that happens, even though sometimes I come back and keep talking, but I don't think I'll do that this time. Maybe I will.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
Okay, so tomorrow I'm not coming back, but I'm coming back. Tomorrow I am back at 10 o'clock to do this all over again. Something that I love talking about every show and didn't talk about it today, so I'm just going to dip into the careers page, which can be found at tps.ca/careers. And I want to look at the civilian roles, because obviously police constables are a position we hire for, special constables, parking enforcement officers, comms operators, and there's even a space for auxiliary officers. Those are uniformed volunteers. There are civilian volunteers, that's separate, but I want to check, I regularly want to check on these positions. There's currently 8 positions available. Service person, that's a new one. Are you a mechanic? Would you like to work? Now, a service person, let's see, up to 86,000, what was this? 86,000, individual, enthusiastic, moving on. Will tow and recover departmental and police vehicles. Okay. So this is not specifically a mechanic position, I don't think. Oh, I went too far back. But this is a job that you could do if you were interested. A temporary administrator, a technical analyst, intermediate level, training specialist, Indigenous, digital team developer, technical analyst at radio, intermediate technical analyst, advisor, Indigenous engagement, and Yippee member. But I gotta send this service person job to a couple of people. Anyway, if you would like to work for an incredible organization, you should be applying for these jobs now, before the posting comes down. And I'll give you an example. This was posted today. But if you don't apply by February 5th, it will close and you will not have an opportunity. So I would suggest applying now. or at very least go read. All right, folks, have a great day. Drive sober, drive safely, park legally, and smile because it looks good on you. For real. Smiling's good. I like it. All right.